tell you. No,
Yes,
you're not live.
it's working
Oh,
for
on
both.
YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's going to be working for both now.
Mm,
You see me?
I'm looking for your YouTube. Oh, live? Yeah. Well, it's called Assets That Make You Rich, How to Buy Assets That Generate Income, Build Wealth from Nothing. That's what the name of it is. Okay, I see you there. And then I see you on Facebook. Okay, so Facebook is like 15 seconds behind.
Okay.
It's okay. Day one is for technical
Okay.
technical
Do you see
difficulties.
am I live on YouTube?
I saw you on YouTube. Yeah, I told you the video title is something else though. Assets that make you rich.
Uh, that is weird. I don't know why it has that as the title. Um, I do see that on there. That is weird. I don't know why it has that as the title. Um, I do see that on there. What's up, everybody? Okay, so we are assets that make you rich and real estate investor. I don't know if I grabbed the wrong one, or maybe it's like I grabbed. Maybe YouTube automatically used one something. Um, yeah, this is our first one, so we're learning what is good.
Yeah, but we got 6 viewers on Facebook Live. What's up, everyone? Drop a comment on
Oh,
Facebook if you're on there
see the
or
title.
YouTube.
I see. I see.
Questions, comments.
Okay, so this is gonna be Jonah, Fernando plus Jonah. I say let's get into it, dude. Jonah,
All right.
PadSplit, uh, live deal analysis, and this is 12/16/25. Bam.
My post in the other because you deleted that. It probably disappeared.
Save. Let's see if that change is saved. Are we still
Yeah, that
streaming?
post is good. We are.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, we're live. PadSplit live deal analysis. All right, let's get into it,
All
man.
right, let's do it.
So I know that something that you've been doing is you have been researching a bunch of properties specifically for co-living investors. So the first things first, like we both agree, if people are trying to cash flow 1, 2, 3, 4 unit properties all across the U.S., one of the best strategies that you and I agree on, obviously a ton of other people, is just co-living or pad split, right? So it knowing that's the case,
Correct.
most likely if you guys are in on here, then you might have that similar belief. So we're going to go through our properties that Jonah's already getting, and I help on the financing a lot. So we're going to talk about how we'd strategize underwriting a deal, how we'd tackle it, and then you guys can join Jonah's list when he sends out these types of deals as well, sends out these types of properties that you guys have to do your own underwriting. So Jonah, do you want me to share? Do you want me to pass it to you and you share your screen, and then
Yeah, that works.
kind of go through
Yeah,
properties that you've got going on?
yeah, let's do that. I
Okay.
think like for background, I think Fernando set it up right for anyone that doesn't know like some of my background. Like we basically have been in the deal sourcing or wholesale space for a couple years, and we've seen every exit strategy, that everyone people uses, which is long-term rentals, short-term rentals, midterm kind of insurance rentals, Section 8, and co-living, and there's a few others, but most of those are just not working, honestly. Some work here and there, and you could say midterm rentals work, but co-living we saw kind of in a secular trend. Oh, what's up, Kevin? I love the it goes right into the stream. It's a good
Yeah,
feature.
yeah, yeah. Keep going.
But we yeah, we saw that these were the ones with the most solid exits across the board. So we've focused on finding the deal opportunities, and we wanted to start the stream because it's easier to discuss things live and to show kind of get into the weeds, discuss opportunities, see what we can learn about each property, see if they're deals, be honest, be open, and let people ask questions live. So let's get into it. Um,
Sweet. All
I'll
right.
share my screen.
And then I'll let you.
We go. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Share your screen, and then I'll make sure it broadcasts.
Okay. I'm sharing the investor hub.
All right.
Can you see it?
There you go. Now showing your face
Oh,
on the screen.
we're good. Where's your face?
That's all right. Go without me.
I want to see you though. We need your face so that we can engage. It can't just be me.
Yeah, 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 true. I'll work on that. Keep going.
Double. Okay, cool. Um, okay, so we really look at four types of deals. You have the existing pad splits that are already operating. You have financials. That's one type of deal. The second one is a pre-converted or new construction property, right? So you're buying it and you're either building it or you're buying it from a flipper and the room's already there. So you're going to evaluate it just needing to fill you. There's really no conversion costs associated with that. Third would be a buy and convert deal, just taking one from the market, rent ready, adding walls. And the fourth one would be a buy, rehab, and convert. And that typically is a deal that's maybe a bit more distressed. You're going to put some rehab work into it. You're going to force the appreciation and then refi out, which is a much longer process, but is the most attractive and most lucrative deal in most cases. So we wanted to touch a little bit of each of those. Um, let's start with a simple one, which is a converted property. So this is one that we have been working on with a flipper. So I will share my screen. You can see this Tony Street. So let's go dig into each of these components. I'll give a quick backstory on what this property is. So we have a flipper who we have a relationship with in the Orlando market. He has been working on this property for a normal conversion. Sorry, not a normal flip, right? He bought it off market, is doing rehab, and was expecting to list it, to a retail buyer. But he said, hey, like maybe I can put the walls in and we can just convert it right to a co-living property and someone will buy it for me turnkey, with the walls, with everything ready and so on. So we've been evaluating this opportunity for some buyers. We have some people that are pretty far along this process. It's still available, but it's definitely an interesting deal because you don't have to put the conversion costs. Everything is already baked in, so your down payment is going to be pretty much all the cash that you have to bring up front. Two, you get it in very high quality condition, right? If flipper is working on the property to bring it to a rent ready condition, all the major items are going to be fixed. And three, it's being kind of evaluated for co-living in the first place. So let's dig into some of the numbers. Obviously, if you have questions along the way, we're going to be monitoring the Facebook and the YouTube, I believe. I see a few good afternoons, so good thing that people are catching that. But yeah, Facebook and YouTube, if you have questions, we can dig into them. So I don't see my screen. Oh, there. Okay, I do see
Do you
it.
see? Do
You
you
can
see
see my screen.
on the right side?
I see. Yeah, I see you on the right side, but on your Facebook. Oh, now I see it.
Okay,
Sweet.
might have taken a little while.
Great. Okay. So let me just keep pulling up new sheets. Well, actually, while I do that, like Fernando, in terms of like the financing, do
Yeah,
you want it to when someone brings you a property that's already converted, like let's talk about this because this is usually a bottleneck for people. If someone
yeah.
brings you a property with the walls already in place, so this is going to be a 7-4 to start, right? It says 4-2, but when everything's done and completed, it's going to be 7-4.
Right.
How can we finance this? What are the avenues for getting this done?
And we're talking about a refi or purchase. Are we selling this to someone or are we refinancing it?
No, this would be a purchase.
Okay, so if it's already finished and it's a purchase, the con, I will say there's a couple of cons in that. The con is right now, the core lender that I have requires 25% down and not 20% down if it's already converted and if it's on PadSplit. So yes, we're cool with pad split leases. Yes, we're cool with pad split layout and structures. Right now, we're working on a 14 bed refi, and it's like, how are we able to do those things? You're not doing those with regular types of lenders. So if it's converted, it's on PadSplit, it's modified, you've got the living room converted or the dining room converted, you got beds in all these different places, you've added walls, like Jonah's saying, then we're going to have to use a PadSplit or co-living specific lender. It's good because we get the deal done, but, and I'll be totally straight here, the terms and the interest rate are not going to be as great. Your interest rate's probably going to be like a 0.5% higher, maybe a quarter. No, I wouldn't say half. Maybe a 1/4% or so higher on the interest rate side. But then you're now going 25% down, right? So just saying that, because some people on the refi, if this was a refi, some people say, "Oh, should I convert it and then refinance?" Ultimately, it depends on, do you care about how much cash you can pull out? Does it care about how much you can refinance? Is it a seasoning period? Are you going to own the property for more than 6 months or not? So there's still questions I usually ask. I My number one strategy would be to refinance vacant before you do the final conversion if we want to maximize the cash out and if we want to be able to refinance with no seasoning period or something. And so there are caveats to how I strategize with someone, but yeah, that's really it to start.
Okay, so we can work on. Oh, what was
Yes,
that?
that
Is someone?
is working on making my phone call go down.
Oh, it's a phone.
It's
I
a
thought someone was like. I
yeah.
thought we won like a jackpot or something.
No, I know. Go
Uh,
ahead. You go.
okay, so let's go high level. So we have the Tony Street deal, and we'll just hop piece by piece, right? So let's look at the macro first. This is 32808 um, on PadSplit. Pretty solid zip code, right? We got 96% occupancy, 2 days to booking, 24 days to 80% full, 77 active units. So I mean, of all zip codes, across pad split markets, that's like pretty as I mean, maybe the rates are a little bit low, but that's as attractive as they come, right? Where almost every room is filled here. I think when we first underwrote this, these rates were actually a bit higher, so I think probably the rates have lowered, and now they're 96% filled, so you can probably get a bit above pad split rates on here. Let's see if there's a more refreshed, because sometimes those numbers are out of date.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on mine, I'm actually for some reason my data lags sometimes, but I'm seeing 93 units, 199 for share, 270, and 95% occupancy.
Yeah, for some reason
I think I'm
can you shrink your computer down a little bit more or your screen size?
yeah. Do you see it now?
No, can you bring the left side in? For some reason I can't.
Yep. Uh,
Yeah,
thanks for everyone
your left
patient with us.
side of
I
your
know I'm trying.
stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how do you do that. Uh, hmm.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Base. Yeah, I don't know. It like doesn't let you shift things in or out.
No. All right, we'll make a note of that. But keep going. So ultimately,
So the numbers that I have are actually 93 units in the zip code, 199 for shared, 270 for private bathroom, 95% occupancy, 3 days to first booking, and 23 days to 80% booking. That is definitely a good zip code. I mean, that's a um, have you seen, I mean, like of all zip codes I see, when you're above 95% occupancy with that amount of units and you're getting those rates, clearly it's in demand. So let's dig in a bit further. Let's see if you can see the sheet.
yeah, let me see. And
I'm
then
looking to.
Heather, really quick, let me just answer this. So, in terms of interest rates, I mean, it depends on the LTV, on the DSCR, on the credit score. So there's factors in here, but I would say you're probably in the high sixes. If it is a pad split, then you're probably in the low sevens. Um, but then that does depend on credit score. I mean, there are, and then it depends on what lender we use, what lender we have to use. But in the best case scenario, you're in high sixes. In the worst case scenario, we're like 7.25 to 7.5 still. And that's kind of where things are at.
You're seeing anything lower or no?
6 point. 625, 6.75 maybe, but depends on the LTV. And so that's probably what we're seeing. But I tell people like 6.875, 7% is a pretty fair, like, where to estimate
Yeah.
things.
Okay. All right. I think I can hack this by doing this.
There you go.
Yes, it worked.
That's better. Wait,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. We got Tony Street 32808. We went over the zip code, so we got 199 and 272, 270. Same thing, but I can we can double check also the listing numbers. But at that level of occupancy, it sounds like things are being filled up pretty fast. So this one is a 3.2. I believe it's actually 1,700 square feet, but it's being converted to a 7.4 with 3 en suites and 4 shared rooms. So
To
that
convert it,
gets
are
us
they converting the garage at all, or is it just the regular floor plan? No garage
just
conversions.
a regular floor plan. I have the floor plan. Let me.
Are they getting permits for any of the additional beds or bathrooms at least? Or no, they're just going to add another
I
bathroom?
believe well because it's a flip, so I believe the whole thing is permitted.
Okay, cool.
'Cause
The
They
reason
already did.
why
They
that
already pulled the construction.
the reason why that matters is people will do unpermitted work and they still want more value for the house, and so sometimes there can be a discrepancy between what the property is versus what title shows, and sometimes a lender
Mm,
see that and say like, well, we're not going to give you more value for the property if that's not unpermitted work. So just as something to be
no,
aware,
that makes okay. I can
especially on
actually
garage
share it.
conversions. If people illegally convert a garage, very rare that a lender will give that value if it's not permitted, because that's additional square footage, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you want, yeah, that's I guess the trade off of speed and
Yeah. So
um.
as everybody's aware that there's risk that the value may not be counted for you. Now, if it's like a 2.5 to a 3 bath, that's all right. If you're doing a 2.5 to a 3 conversion, I think you'll still get away with the value. It's really more like the additional square footage. People are doing additional square footage, or they're building an ADU and none of that's permitted. Then that's where it probably has the greatest effect.
Got it. That makes sense. So this was the floor plan. This actually was an old one because we realized that room 5 has no second egress, so the kitchen is actually in the middle there, and that's flipped. But
But
this is the 7 bed.
you put the kitchen inside of room 5.
Yeah, it's just flipped the kitchen in room 5. So
Okay.
room 5 is on the outside because there was no window. So yeah, this is being delivered like this, as the adjusted thing, but it's being delivered with these walls in place,
Is it vacant?
and everything. Yeah, it's vacant. So this is a someone who's they bought a distressed 3.2. They're basically doing the burr piece before someone buys it. So they're doing the conversion, they're doing the flip, and it'll be delivered vacant and as a 7.4 at the end of the day. So obviously that saves a lot on the conversion costs, and that means we can probably get in for under 100K, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask you something really quick on this layout? Where are
yeah,
How many of these rooms have built-in closets? What do you think? And the
actually,
reason
good question. I don't remember. I don't remember.
the reason why that matters is because if all seven did not have built-in closets, let's say there were only four built-in closets, maybe five, then we can still get away, and especially if it's vacant, we can get away with calling room 4 or room 6, right? Like a dining room and a living room. So there's still
Mhm.
sometimes ways to call those something else than bedroom. So that way it'll still be a 4 or 5 bedroom property with living room and dining room, especially if it's vacant. But yeah, once you have a bed in it, once it's furnished, or once it has built-in closets, then it gets more difficult to do that. And that helps us get lower rates, or it helps us go 20% down on purchases.
Did you get? I don't know if you got Kevin's comment. The 30-year DSCR loans have a prepayment penalty. Did you cover that?
Yeah, right.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
the DSCR loans closing an entity that do not report to your personal credit, those will all have prepayment penalties. There are ways to buy those down. So we have people that say, yeah, I don't want, or I want a 1 year prepay or a 6 month prepay or no prepay, but you're going to pay for it somewhere. You're going to pay in interest rate. They're going to give you a higher rate. They're going to make you buy down. Like you're going to have to pay fees to buy it down right now. Or you just stay with the prepay that you're given. But yeah, there you go. Back to you.
Okay.
Back to you, Jonah.
All right, back to me. All right, so we discussed the floor plan. We can get back, but people are more excited about the numbers. So let's talk about numbers.
No, I'm glad you shared the floor plan though, because that's good to talk about.
Yeah, especially on this one, it's a little bit more unique. Can you see? All right, sweet. So we got 4 shared, 3 private, 199, 270. These are our standard kind of numbers on the operating side. Vacancy at 10%, I think, is fair here. We usually use these um, as our numbers. People will want to do things differently, especially with the PadSplit numbers, and people might be a little bit more conservative or aggressive on these two. But this is how we had it pan out. And that's getting us to 3,300 of net operating income before mortgage. So if there's questions on financials, obviously drop them in the chat. I'll keep going on our underwriting. So I guess we need to adjust this because we're at 345 on the purchase, and you told me we need to be at 25% down. Is that right?
25% down.
For
Yeah. If
on this one,
if
okay.
those are built-in closets and there's no way for us to make it look like one of those is dining room and living room, then we're gonna have to buy this 25% down. Right.
Okay, well let's assume that, and then you think we're at 7.5 on our rate.
Let's just put 7.125.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
we'll
Well, that's even
assume
better.
they've got strong liquidity, the DSCR is good, and they've got great credit score.
Okay, well that even makes it better. Um, so okay, so this is our loan data, and then we put the down payment is 86,000. We put 2 months of holding costs. Honestly, that's probably even a bit conservative because again, it's being delivered ready, so you just have to furnish it and fill it. But we put 2 months holding costs and 3% closing costs, which gets us, fully all into the deal before conversion at 101,000.
Yeah.
And then we estimated 1,200 a room for furnishing, and then some general appliances, but it already includes appliances as well, just another 1,000. There's some other items too, but 12,000. Even put 15,000 if you want to be more conservative. But we're at 113 all in. Anything stand out to you so far? There's also a discussion about potentially an invoice authorization on this, where because we know the flipper, we could basically contract maybe even a little higher, bake in some of the furnishing, and then he could do the furnishing. So there's some ways to even bring it down a little further. We're already pretty there, right? Because like we don't have this whole extra spend.
Yeah,
Um,
so I would say the
but
closing costs can vary on that because you don't know closing costs. You bake in the lender fees, then you got title fees, then you have the prepaid escrows and all that stuff too. Go back to the purchase price on this really quick. What was the purchase
we're
price?
at 345.
Yeah, I would say the the holding cost. Sorry, the closing cost. Change that to like 3.5%. What does that go to?
12,000.
Yeah, I'd probably say like closer to 3.5 because
Okay.
it's not just it's closing costs. Everything inside of closing costs. You've got lender fees, then you have title, then you have transfer taxes. You've got prepaid interest, prepaid insurance, property taxes stuff that you got to put into escrow, insurance into escrow. So that looks more right.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, it's some of that gets credited down, right? So then your cash flow in future months will be better too
Yeah.
on some of the
And
days.
any so this is standard. There's two things that Jonah and I would have talked about right now and what we could do to make this better, given the same exact structure and the way that you can make it better. So the purchase price we said was 340, right?
345.
345. So standard, let's just say we want to get seller credits. So even at 345, if I want to get 12 grand to help me cover my closing cost, options here is we can increase the purchase price to three put 352. What is that? No, 357. Increase it to 357, and then let's get closing. Let's get 3% as our max. Yeah, we'll ask for $12,000 in seller credits. Can you put seller
God,
credits
that's so
in
crazy.
this?
Yeah.
You make that negative.
Yeah.
Right. So right away
That's
that
good.
saved. How much did that save right now?
We were at 106 before there. No, we were at 103, and now we're at 94. So we saved 9,000.
9,000. That sounds right because you're still 25% is your down payment goes up. So what I suggest to some of my clients is like, cool, we're not getting seller credits. Let's increase the purchase price on your offer. Let's see if that appraised value can meet it up there. And let's get some seller credits. Like, why would we want to do that? People will say, well, my down payment's going to go up. My monthly payment's going to go up. So I just want to show with you guys, as you can see, even though your down payment goes up $3,000, you're getting $9,000 back to help decrease your cash to close. So yes, your down
Mm-hmm.
payment goes up. You get more money towards your closing costs to help decrease your total cash to close. You net better. On the monthly payment side, can you see how the monthly payment changed? So that monthly principal and interest, because
Yeah.
you're.
We probably went up. We probably went up about like $20. It was
Can you show them really quick? So go to 345. You can just change it to
yeah,
345 up top.
yeah, 1743 versus. So it's about $60 higher.
1743. Yeah, $60 higher. So the math I do is saying, okay, if I'm going to save $9,000 for my cash to close, how many years is that going to take? If instead I would have paid that 9,000 up front, that extra $60, how many years is it going to take for me to pay back that $60? So go to another cell really quick. We're just going to put in there $9,000, so equals $9,000 divided by, and we're going to divide that by $60. It's going to give us how many months?
It's 150
Hold on, I can't see that. Move
bucks.
it,
Yeah.
move it more. Move it to a cell on the left, really quick, because I can't see it.
Can you see it now?
Yeah, so it's 150 months. So remove the, because we did, or no, not sorry, 150.
Oh, you're saying how many? Yeah, how many are we saving? Got it.
Yeah, so 150 months. Divide that by 12. It's more than 12, more than 10 years.
12.5. Yeah.
12 and a half years. So if somebody says, like, should I do that? Should I increase the purchase price and get seller credits? I go back to them. Would you rather get $9,000 today that helps you out? You finance that $9,000 into a 30-year loan, and you'd be paying that back over the next 12 and a half years. It's going to take 12 and a half years for the $60 for you to pay back that loan. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 12 and a half years? Do you refinance again? Do you sell? Right? So that's kind of the hedge. And then in those 12 and a half years, is the rental income going to go up by more than $60? You see that? Like, do you think rental income is going to go up by more than $60 per month? Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think in pretty much all cases, it's worth taking off down payment money.
yeah, and it is a conversation because ultimately it does have to come to the investor. That's why I like to go deep in making sure people understand that. How long is a more prepay penalty? So a normal prepayment penalty is 3 to 5 years. So 3 years can be yeah, it's usually 3 to 5 years. It's never more than 5 years. And if you choose 5 years, you usually get a better interest rate than if you choose 3 years. Sometimes it's not crazy different. It varies. Could be 0.125 to 0.375, the difference on the interest rate if you pick a 5 year versus if you pick a 3 year. So yeah, that goes back to like what interest rate do we use, right? If somebody wants a lower prepayment penalty, then they're going to get a higher rate than somebody who picks the 5 year prepayment penalty. That was from Emma. Hi, Emma. Thank you for your question. Okay,
Good
go.
question.
Keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna keep moving then. Nice. I just shared it with some more people. So we're at 94. So we did 12,000 seller credits. We raised that price. up a bunch. I mean, we could probably even squeeze it, right? The second thing would be to take some of this stuff, the extra 12 to 15,000, and even do it a little bit higher.
and do the
Can we
invoice.
do something like that?
In that, yeah, we
Yeah,
could do that, but we'd have to structure that part as an invoice authorization, not as a seller credit.
got it.
So, which totally
So
has.
let's say we were even.
You want
I
to
mean,
do?
so we could be at 370, right, and then be at invoice off. But let's just leave it and assume that this is
No,
how it
but
is,
but
because I
you're,
think
dude. I just did a deal like this. We got $30,000 in invoice authorization, and we got $10,000 in seller credits. So let's show people. I mean, this is how we structure deals. Ultimately, it's not about the deal; it's about how you structure the deal. For it,
that's true.
it can still make work. So as of right now, we're at a 15% cash on cash.
Yeah, that is in the current. Well, this is actually the old. This is actually the 1 second minus the seller credits. We're at 18% after everything. After the seller credits,
Yeah.
17.6.
And by the way, I have a pretty solid um, deal analyzer that I think we could use too for the next one that already bakes in invoice authorization, seller credit stuff too. So you can
Okay, nice. Yeah, we
produce.
level it up.
Okay, so
Do you
go
want
back
to do the
up.
invoice authorization here?
Yeah, go back up to the top. So look, Kevin's got a question here for you.
Because so can we use this method buying uncluded? Because essentially you guys are wholesaling it. Yeah, so it depends on the deal, right? So for this one, yes. Um, it really just depends on. Are you saying? I guess the question more specifically about the seller credits and the invoice authorization. The
Right.
problem is on wholesale deals, you're going to run into like what does hard money include, right? So that's a question for Fernando. Also, like, will hard money even let that? But you don't really run it. You don't have the same need on those because the goal is to refinance out your costs,
Yeah.
your
So
conversion costs.
so
So it
specifically,
matters.
this deal right here that we're talking about is not a wholesale deal. This isn't, or is this an MLS deal or it's a flip deal, right?
Yeah, it's a flip deal. So it's something we're part of. It's not an MLS deal. It's a kind of a unique one, but effectively you can analyze the
Yeah.
currently
So
operating paths. Same
so
thing.
for Kevin's question, I think more specifically, can you use it if you're going to be using 30-year debt from the start? Yes. Right. And so if Jonah, so do you know this? You know the seller, Jonah? Are you technically? Would you be
Yeah,
wholesaling
yeah,
that deal?
yeah. We know the flipper here.
Yeah. So in this scenario, yes. But going back to Jonah's point, if the property needed rehab and it's you're working with a seller you don't know, it gets more difficult. One, because hard money lenders don't like to finance seller credits. So that's just usually they're just going to say just drop the price. That's one thing you're going to run into. And then the other side is if you're not very close with the seller, then the seller doesn't want to make a bunch of adjustments to the contract because sometimes they feel like they're going to get screwed. So that it is you do have to be able to make this type of deal structuring work. But just like any other tool, sub two, seller financing, all these other things, these are all creative strategies to save capital or save money. Invoice authorization, seller credits, these are just other strategies to try to save money. It's not doesn't mean it's going to work every single time, but we try. Cool. All right. So let's
Yeah.
say you did add the invoice authorization. How else? How
We
much
can,
more does that help?
so if we go 12,000, so we're at 369 now, and then effectively we're just removing the rehab costs from a simple standpoint. We're at 18.3, so we moved up. Uh, we were at 17.6 and we were at 18.3. So now we're at just 1,500 a month at 100K total outlay.
Nice. Look, in our cash on cash went to 18%. Wait,
And I think the
where did you
benefit is you're not.
see the invoice authorization? Where'd you put that at?
Oh, I just I just put it in. I just add to the purchase price and I remove the furnishing costs. I mean, that's the simple math behind
That's
it.
the simple math behind it. But let's actually, can we show exactly how it works?
Yeah,
So they're not like thinking we're just making numbers.
manipulating
Yeah,
numbers.
yeah, yeah. No, we
Yeah,
just remove the furniture costs and bada bing, bada boom. That's the beauty about Google Sheets. You just
I
delete.
mean, we could just create it here, right? Invoice authorization,
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Invoice authorization up there.
and we can just match it to this, and then we would just add. So really, it was 345 plus these.
Right.
So we're at 368,990, and then when we do the total cash outlay, it's well, this becomes minus invoice authorization, and then this also has to match the this. So 98,091 and 18%, right? So we took out these costs, we matched it, we added it to the top here. Your down payment goes up by a bit, right? So we were at 12,000. We were at 375. So we were at 375. Or sorry, we were at 357. So our down payment went up by 3,000,
Yeah.
but our cash on cash went up by just about half a
No,
percent.
down payment should have went up by more. Down payment should have went up by
Why
more
we did?
because you're getting 20. How much are you getting? Almost close to 24,000. So
Well,
24.
just on the invoice, I'm saying, just on the invoice
Oh,
authorization.
got it. Just on the invoice authorization. Yeah, sorry. In total,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. It would have been up by 3 again. Yeah. So now we went. So our total cash outlay went from what number to 98,000? What was it before?
We were at like 116 before.
116. Right. So we ended up saving 18,000. That actually sounds right because it should be 3,000 each one. So 6,000 is our down payment increase, but we end up getting 18
Yeah,
back. So yeah,
nice.
that's how
Good
you
work, Lender.
that's how you would totally structure this deal for sure to get it done. And then, okay, so what are the risks? The risk here is that you put your offer in at the 370 and the value doesn't come in. So the risk is that you put it in at the 370,000 and the property doesn't appraise for 370. Let's say it appraises for 360. What do we do then? So that does happen. People will try to do the seller credits and invoice authorization. They'll increase the purchase price, all that stuff, and the value doesn't come in all the way. Well, then you adjust.
Mhm.
So then it's like, okay, fine, we can't do a $12,000 invoice authorization. You do a $2,000 one because it came in instead of 370, it came in at 360. The point is still to try these strategies, and then if it works out, great. And if it doesn't work out, well, then you adjust. Um, in this scenario, do you know if this seller would allow financing contingencies, Jonah? Is it like a regular contractual deal?
Yeah, yeah. Would be fine. Yeah, because imagine it was someone who's just going to put it on the MLS, but you're basically getting first dibs at it, and
That's
he's
off
doing
market.
the
Yeah, so it's just an off market deal.
yeah.
Sweet. I know this is actually pretty good for our first one. I think we have
Yeah.
like 10 more minutes here, and we're down to a few people still live. But anybody have any more questions? I love that people came in, dude, and they started asking questions.
Yeah, nice. And
This
we're
is
gonna
great.
get it even bigger. Live selling works. You want to just talk about quick 30-second pros and cons? Like from my perspective, I think 18% on a turnkey deal is pretty good.
I
If
agree.
you're not doing a full burr. The other perk here is that 345 and you're pretty close to market. So you're maybe a little underwater after all the seller credits and the buybacks and the closing costs, but it's not as drastic as putting, 80, 90K of conversion
Right.
into a
And even defining what
market
that
value.
means to be underwater. You want to get into that a little bit? Like, what does that mean to be underwater?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think a big risk, also with creatives too, is an issue is that if you're buying, let's say in this case, the market value is 345, 350. So we're buying at market value, maybe a slight discount, but if we're going to go put another 50K of conversion costs into it to build walls, So now your total cost to get into the deal is going to be 400,000 or more. So when we say the word underwater, essentially from day one, we're at negative equity because we put our money down, we bought into the house, but if we go to sell it tomorrow, we're not going to get credit for all of the conversions we did, right? Maybe there's a small premium for for being an operating co-living property, a small one, that we see maybe 10,000, 20,000. But assume something happened tomorrow and we have to just deconvert the property and we want to sell it. You're probably only going to get 350 again. So you're just underwater that 50K, and that obviously presents a problem because now you have lost, even if you got cash flow for a few months or a few years, like you didn't necessarily make up the value that you put in for that
Yep.
property, and you're going to have to grow into the new valuation. It has to appreciate into it.
Yes,
Um,
and that's
so
definitely a risk.
anything,
Yeah, I took that risk on my first two properties. Bought in at a certain price point. We put in 30, 40, $50,000 of work into it, and I didn't understand the risk I was kind of getting into. Luckily, properties appraised 100 grand. That property's been cash flowing really well for the past few years. So I think you just, for some people, you take the risk, and that's what I did. But there is risk, and like we have to be aware of that because some people have gotten the other side where they went through it, and then something bad happened, right? And so now
yeah.
they're like, shoot, they have to liquidate the property, and they take a loss. But I think so. What's the point that you want to make on that? Is that more of like more so awareness that if you are going to take this,
Yeah.
there's risk
Yeah. I mean, it's
in the
an
strategy.
awareness thing because it's
That's the risk.
forget even if sorry, I guess there's a delay, so it's overlapping. But even if there's no downside, right? Even if you don't have any, you have clean issues and you have all that problem, like your exit strategy, even in 10 years, like you might not have even grown into the new valuation.
Mm.
So if you're at 400K all in cost, and now you're going to go try to sell for 400K, well, then the whole point of the appreciation is kind of wiped out. So it might look good from a cash on cash return perspective, but
Hmm.
cash on cash return only reflects cash on cash return. It's only how much cash flow you're making, which
Mm.
is great for investors for cash flow, but it kind of excludes the other appreciation, depreciation, tax benefits of real estate.
That
So
So on what's the right KPI we should be tracking for equity then? We should, because equities grows in two ways, right? Equity can be appreciation equity or debt pay down. And so I think I have to check if my other calculator has it. Do you have that? Oh yeah,
yeah,
you,
we
oh
we just
nice.
had this simple one. But yeah, we summed up the year one cash flow as this, so 17,000. We just estimated appreciation at 3%, which is kind of a standard real estate number, and then our loan pay down on this is comes down to 2,700 using some fun present value formulas. so,
Yeah.
so our overall return ends up being 31%, which obviously is pretty strong after everything. But actually, I don't know if that's yeah, return on cash. So yeah, we want to evaluate things using different metrics. Some people care about things, some people care about other metrics than others. Sorry, I worded that poorly. Some people prefer metrics that others care more about, right? So if someone is focused on cash flow, cash on cash return might be the most important thing. But if you're buying multifamily right now and you're looking at like IRR equations, well, you're just really backing into what is the future value of the property in 5 years. It might make zero cash flow today or even lose money. So it's really just about different investors and what their preference is. A lot of rental investors are looking for cash flow, right? That's the reason they kind of buy rentals versus just put passive investments into other real estate projects. And that's why we like co-living, because you're not going to see cash on cash returns in other rental properties, in the high teens. It just really, in some short-term rentals, you might be able to, but in long-term rentals, you're not. And in other properties, you're just not. So I think that's the overall take
Yeah.
on things.
I think some thoughts on my end about appreciation or loan pay down, like these other pieces. I think I noticed myself as an investor what it means to become a more sophisticated investor, right? And at the time when I like cash flow got me into real estate, but I didn't understand what wealth building was. Like the difference between cash flow and wealth. And for me, that difference is I could make fit 10, $15,000 of cash flow on a property per year. But over the course of 5 years, if my property appreciates $50 to $100,000 and I didn't do anything, that is still building wealth. I thought that was like really mind blowing to me because if that just kind of made me feel like, all right, well, if I own 10 properties, if my in my entire life I own 10 properties and those 10 properties appreciate 100 grand, like you become a millionaire. That's it.
That's true. It's just not as sexy and fun, but
It's not as sexy and fun, but that concept of like buy and hold, like you buy real estate and wait. I've been in real estate now since 2020, and so I've been able to see how these properties have grown in appreciation. I'm just like, dang, I didn't do anything, and then like I
yeah,
felt like I didn't do anything, right? And then but I'm building wealth. I'm not building well, I'm still building cash on that property too. So this captures both. But when I was analyzing my numbers, the appreciation and loan pay down, I didn't appreciate, ironically, I didn't appreciate that these numbers because I can't feel them. And I think that part is still hard. Like as an investor, a new investor, I can't feel appreciation. I can't feel loan pay down, right? Cash flow you can feel.
yeah,
It goes into your bank, then you like, oh my gosh, my number, like the number's getting bigger in my bank account. You can use that money. So I just wanted to highlight
yeah.
that the hidden benefits.
Well, and it's also less it's it's money today, right? So it just feels less uncertain. All the other stuff is dependent on a sale or a refi. But
Yeah.
if you're getting a cash flow in your pocket, oh, I'm making 2,000 a month. Well, it feels more real, I think, to people, and that's why a lot of people focus on cash on cash. Well,
All
I
right.
know we're coming to the end of the hour, and we started a bit late, but this was a good first one, I would say.
Good.
Just a good run through.
And you got some people coming back in. So we're just about to finish up here. Anybody that just came in, we were just underwriting a deal. One of Jonah's seller friends is going to be turning their property, doing the rehab, converting it to a 7-bed, 4-bath, and then selling the property vacant turnkey to somebody, to a buyer. And we're analyzing how we would structure buying that deal. And what we ended up, let's just do a summary. What we ended up with was if the initial purchase price is 345, our goal is going to be to increase that purchase price to go up really quick 368 and change, so 369. We want to increase the purchase price 369. We want to add $12,000 in seller credits to help offset the closing cost. Then we want to add another $11,990 in an invoice authorization to offset the furniture or any additional conversion pieces down there. So that way, we're really just all in at the down payment plus some of the holding cost. And that's pretty much our total cash outlay is at $98,000 down below. And the cash on this deal could be 18%. The numbers we got for the room rentals, we just got it straight from PadSplit's website, where they show everybody what the numbers are in the zip code. And yeah, so that's kind of what we kind of agreed to right here. Jonah, if
Yeah.
somebody is interested in putting an offer on this deal, when's it going to be ready?
It's the end of this month. I think within 30 days.
Do they reach out to you?
They can.
Cool.
I can drop my info. I'm just gonna put it as a comment. Because then it will pop up on here. Here.com
Go.
slash at let's see, I think it will come up on the screen.
You did get a question. What's your target cash on cash? You got a YouTube question. I don't know if
Oh,
YouTube.
nice.
What would you say?
What's the target cash on cash? I mean, I think there's enough deals above the 15% range that um, that's what is reasonable to like wait for and look for as an investor. It depends what how. Oh wait, that was another question from Kevin. But
Yeah.
uh, It's really depend. People are willing to take deals that are in 9%, 10% cash on cash. Um, I think if you see things above 20, it's very good. Anything above 15 is good. And then obviously like 25, 30 you can pretty much only achieve with Burr type deals.
Yeah.
It's just not with deals on the market. It's too hard because of the money you have to put down, and you can't refi out unless you're getting like you're converting to like a 14 bed property. Then maybe you have enough cash flow to balance it out. But I just really haven't seen many. Once in a while, you'll get a over 20% on the market, and then those are good. My thing popped up there.
Yep.
So that's the target. Yeah, everyone has different target numbers, but I would say it's reasonable to aim for a 15% and not feel like you're boxing yourself out. I think that's a really big question: is like how long do you want to wait for the deals to work? For example, some people are like, I only want to buy creative. I'm like, okay, fine, but you're probably going to be waiting like at least 3 months, even 6 months to find something that actually hits the buy box.
Yeah.
Um, I can only name you, less than five that I've seen that were like, oh, these are actually good deals because they were creative. So it's really just about how wide you want to go with the buy box. And see, there's another question. How long does it take to get a fix and flip DSCR loan to rehab and co-living? 2 weeks. Just curious what my due diligence should be on average.
Let's see. How long does it take to get a fix with the escrow loan? So how long does it take? So a fix and flip. So those are two different loan types. Fix and flip loan is different than a DSCR loan. So fix and flip loan, yeah, you can close that in 2 weeks. DSCR loans are going to take more like 30 days. And so rehab and a co-living 2 weeks on average. So I'm not sure what the full question is. How long does it take to get a fix? Yeah, 2 weeks, but then you're going to have to, from there, it's how beat up is the property. If you get a fix and flip loan and does the property, how much rehab does the property need? Because that's going to determine, and then how good is your contractor, all that stuff. That's going to determine how long your rehab takes before you can go into the refi. My recommendation though is 2 weeks before you finish your rehab, you start the DSCR loan. So that way you can start collecting all the documents, schedule the appraisal for 2 weeks later when you finish your rehab, and you can refinance within 2 weeks of completing your rehab. So that is how we strategize and work with clients. All right, man. I think this is it.
Nice.
I think it was a
Yeah,
good first
let's
one,
wrap.
especially since, some technical difficulties in the beginning, but we got through it. And next thing you know, you and I are side by side. Look at this. This is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about
Great.
this. Jonah, man,
Oh,
excited to
yeah,
do the other
same.
with you. Any final words you want to leave for the peeps?
No, it's good. If anyone was on here and wants to see something specific, or you want to bring a deal, you can email me. I left my email in the comments. We'll kind of hit a variety of things, and obviously, if you want to get in on our platform, if you're not already, I also dropped the link on YouTube, but I didn't drop it on Facebook. I'll do that too. Otherwise, we'll try. I think we'll be back here tomorrow. Is that the plan? Or
Yeah,
later this
talk about it.
week?
We'll see for
We'll let
sure.
everyone know.
For sure,
We'll,
in the time
we'll
this
keep you in the loop.
later, guys. Thanks, Jonah. See you, man.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone. Later.